The story of the Battle of Hastings. Now, don't forget with this, you're never going to get asked to tell anybody the story, but you're going to have to analyse this battle to decide whether it was luck, clever things from William, mistakes by Harold, or the armies themselves and who was in them that led to William's victory. So, this is just a reminder. I'll tell you all of this in lesson, of course. If you get a bit stuck, you can refer to this video. Started off a bit like this. In fact, I'll show you what's on there. The Saxons were at the top of the hill, the Normans were at the bottom of the hill. And at the top of the hill, up there on their advantageous position, the Saxons formed a shield wall where all of the shields locked together with their spears poking through. Quite an intimidating sight, especially when it's right at the top of a hill. So it's a difficult task for the Normans. The Saxons are in the best position on the battlefield. They send up their horses, but they can't really get through the wall. The horses' charge is no good because they're having to charge up a steep hill. So the whole reason why horses, are particularly good on the battlefield is because they're heavy and fast and they can smash through lines. Well, if you take away their speed by standing at the top of a steep hill, then it means they're no good. So the Normans tried horses, they tried archers to try to get through this shield wall, but it was too strong, it was at the top of the hill. At one point, a rumour went round that William was dead. And so William, at great danger to himself, incredibly bravely, took his helmet off and rode around the battlefield exclaiming, "I'm not dead, keep fighting." So he was, if the Saxons would have seen this makes him a target. But it was bold, decisive leadership to take his helmet off at great risk to himself, ride up and down the battlefield to stop his army giving up the fight. Because there was no point in them fighting if he was dead. It's the whole point they were there. Now, at one point, the Normans, or part of the Norman army, ran off down the hill. They'd been fighting for hours at this point. They hadn't managed to break down the shield wall. Things weren't going particularly well. And this group of Normans, or from the Norman army, ran away from the Saxons. They ran down the hill. Now, actually, the people who ran away down the hill were part of the Norman army. They were the Bretons. They'd come from Brittany. They'd come from to come and help the Normans, probably because of the Pope, who supported William's claim to the throne, remember? And probably because they were promised rewards for doing so. Anyway, for whatever reason, they got scared, panicked and ran down the hill. And as you can see here, this is the Saxons following them down the hill. Problem was, once they got to the bottom of the hill, the Norman cavalry could take them out, which they did. Every Saxon that left the hill was wiped out to a man. And this gives William a bright idea. He thinks, hold on a minute, I cannot break down this shield wall. It's at the top of the hill. But if we can get these fellas to come off the hill like they did, then we might have a chance. And his bright idea was a feigned retreat. You think of the word feigned as like fake. It's like the fake retreat. He told his men to go up the hill to fight the Saxons and then to pretend they'd got scared and run away, in the hope that some Saxons would run after them, follow them down the hill. And it worked. Bit by bit, through the day, some part of William's army would run off, and some of the Saxons would follow them down, to the extent that the shield wall got weaker and weaker. And in the end, our archers were firing as well. So as the shield wall weakens, there's more gaps in it, and the arrows might find a way through. And this is the Bayeux Tapestry showing what happened to Harold. Now, historians debate whether this is Harold with an arrow in his eye, or whether this is Harold being chopped down by a Norman knight. We're not sure, but what we are sure about is that Harold, whichever one of those he happens to be, is dead. And so there we go. That is the story of the Battle of Hastings. From advantageous position at the top of the hill, down to Harold Godwinson eventually being killed. And that's the story you've got to get across to me. There you go.